Loach, yes, the loach at Mosquito Lake would really be something I'd love to catch as a trophy here, so I'm giving it another try. The weather is a bit rainy, cloudy with light rain, so I'm trying again with an excessively large setup for this tiny fish. And here we go again with the small fish. Quite a few are coming in right now. I've got a rough here, a tench as well, and what else do we have? Look at that. Another rough. A lot of small fish are coming in. Let's take a quick look at the keeper. I've been here for a few minutes now, trying different things, various bait sizes and hook sizes. I started with a small size 22 hook, which brought in a lot of tiny fish, and now I've moved up. Let's check the setups. This one has a size 20 hook. This one still has a size 22, and this one also has a size 20. The size 20 hook is looking quite promising at the moment. I don't want to go too big because I've tried using an 18 hook before, and strangely enough, the fish got smaller again. That's why I'm currently leaning towards the size 20 hook. Among the smaller hooks, it's already quite large. You know, we have size 24, size 22, and then size 20. So there are still two sizes even smaller. And this loach, well, it's actually not that tiny. So it makes sense to try a slightly larger tiny hook, if that makes sense. It sounds weird, but a slightly larger hook from the really tiny ones might work. As for the position, we'll take a detailed look at the map in a moment. For the depth, I still need to experiment a bit. Right now, I'm fishing at about 40 centimeters. Let's check. Yes, exactly 40 centimeters. You have to be mindful of how far you cast and when the bait starts making contact with the ground. Here, it's already touching the bottom, so you need to make sure that the bait is positioned just above the bottom, either right at the bottom or just slightly above it. Oh, what do we have here? I've already had some pretty big crucian carps on the line. And oh wow, another big tench. I have a huge advantage here right now. This setup isn't really comparable to what a beginner would use, but I was actually here recently with the simplest hazel rod, the basic hazel rod from the Christmas market, just a stick with a line. You can see that I still have the same bait setup on it, and it works too. You don't necessarily have to use these over-the-top match rods or special bolognese rods. You can also fish here with very simple rods. Of course, these rods have advantages. It's no coincidence that they give bonuses, like +5 to float fishing, a boost to match rods, or to carp fishing. These bonuses improve float fishing and all the associated setups. I'm taking advantage of that, but it means that you can also do just fine with basic bait and simple rods. That works too, especially if you want to complete coffee orders. The fish sometimes show up in coffee orders as well. Now let's try an even bigger hook, size 19. Not every company offers a size 19 hook. One thing you can't get easily is the double bait setup. That requires skill and time. You can't just unlock it right away. The double bait setup doesn't just give you two baits, it also increases attraction by 0.5. So instead of just 1 + 1 = 2, it actually equals 2.5. That's a major advantage, not just for this setup, but for the entire game. It's definitely worth working towards. Float fishing is tough at the beginning, and honestly, I didn't really enjoy it with the pole rod. I still don't like it much. Occasionally, I'll use the pole rod, but as soon as I can switch to the bolognese rod, I do. Here it is, the cheapest bolognese rod in the game. I currently have it set up for frog fishing. It costs less than 100 silver. The most expensive part of this setup is the microbraid line, which is super useful. Other than that, you can level up float fishing with a really cheap setup, even using the bolognese rod. That makes it much easier than using a pole rod. Look at that. Another small tench. Is this still the ultimate spot? Let's check the map. I'd say yes, it's still the ultimate spot. It's all the way down at H9, near that big tree. You cast over this bush if you can. Actually, you don't even need to cast far. I've been moving closer and closer. You can fish in this shallow area near the shore, maybe even set the depth to 30 centimeters and cast right behind the bush. That already makes a difference. As mentioned earlier, 30 to 40 centimeter depth works well. For bait, you can experiment a bit. Even the regular basic earthworm works from time to time, so try that too. Caster has worked really well in the past, even setting records. So just test different baits and complete coffee orders because as you can see, many different fish species are coming in. Let's sort by weight. Some decent tench here, crucian carp too. There are quite a few fish worth catching here. If you want to catch the loach overnight, this is a great spot. Speaking of night, it's almost over. The night ends around 6 a.m., so we still have a bit of time left. Always pay attention to the float. Does it move slightly? Does it drift? If you're unsure, try a more sensitive float that indicates movement more clearly. Also, keep an eye on the weather. If the wind is too strong, float fishing isn't the best option. Up to wind strength 3 is usually fine, but beyond that, it starts affecting the float too much. By the way, all of this will be explained properly in an upcoming tutorial. How to start with pole fishing, how to level up effectively. The next tutorial series is already in progress, and there will be a complete guide to RF4 from A to Z, both in English and German, with maximum detail. And here's another one. It looks like it's almost over. Oh wow, 168 grams. They are getting bigger. I'd love to see even more of these. The record here is around 270 grams, I think. This looks really good. Fishing in this shallow area is definitely working. I'll keep trying and hoping that one day I'll finally catch this odd fish and add it to my trophy collection. It's one of the few species I haven't caught yet, not even on the tuba. So that would be really, really nice. I think we've covered everything. Next, I'll be turning in my coffee orders, always a great way to earn some extra cash. The money isn't bad, but my main goal here is catching the loach as a trophy. That's why I'm fishing here. Of course, it's nice if some other good fish come in along the way. If this was helpful, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me a lot. See you in one of the next videos or in a live stream. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 p.m. onwards. Tight lines.